Y'all know what the funny thing is? This actually was supposed to be the first topic that I talked about. But I kind of skipped over it. But I feel like I'm in the space now where I can talk about it. So let's go ahead and get into it. I feel like I'm trying to blur out my background, but I'm blurring out myself. Well, welcome to Breion's Diary, where we talk about life, we are healing, we are growing, and building our confidence and self-esteem, but we're doing it through God. Today, I want to talk about two things. They are rejection and abandonment. So I want to talk about both because they coincide with one another. So rejection is dismissing or refusing of a proposal or idea, and then abandonment comes from the feelings and the emotions of being rejected. So that's how they coincide. So feelings of abandonment comes after being rejected, as I said. Now, these are two areas that I really struggle with just until recently. And God has really dealt with me in these areas. And I say that because I always moved in a way that I wouldn't get rejected, hence that people pleasing that I talked about. So I wouldn't be abandoned. However, when both of these happened at the same time, it was so new for me, I didn't know how to handle it. So that's just a backstory. I want to focus more on the lesson learned and how to apply the lessons now that I have experienced being rejected and abandoned, and how God has dealt with me and helped me through these areas in my life. So I want to start by saying everything happens for a reason. Of course, you're not going to comprehend that while you're going through the emotions and feelings and the experience of being abandoned and rejected, because it doesn't feel good. So what I learned is that in those moments, you are allowing yourself to actually feel your emotions, and that's okay. It's good that you allow yourself to feel, because you get a deeper understanding of your feelings and emotions. So I used to suppress, and I built myself up to be unbothered, but I was only unbothered because I never allowed myself to feel the emotions. I was avoidant of my emotions. So once you allow yourself, or I allow myself to feel my emotions, I did get a little sensitive, but I came to an understanding of what I was feeling. And because I understood what I was feeling, I was able to deal with it better, you know? So I had to start asking myself questions. Why am I hurt? Who hurt me? What areas can I look at within myself in this situation? Because I probably caused some of the hurt. And I'm not saying ask these questions, answer them, and think that you're just going to be over it. I'm not saying that at all. Allow yourself to really sit down and think about the answers. And when you do answer the questions, what was the root cause of where the answers came from? And do that with each question. Over time, you will gain an understanding of the whole situation. And then now that you have that situation, and now that you understand the whole situation, when you get that full understanding of what you're feeling, remember I told you about when you experience those emotions, once you understand those emotions in that situation, now you can give it over to God so that He can deal with it, He can handle it for you, and you keep your focus on Him and keep moving forward. I hope that makes sense. And it'll give you a new perspective. You get a new viewpoint. So I told you guys I was rejected and abandoned. And it's not like it was something recent. Like it happened, it's been happening before, but like I said, I wasn't allowing myself to really feel my emotions until I actually knew for a fact that I was being rejected, because I was ghosted, And like I told you guys, me getting to the root of feeling rejected and abandoned, not saying that this necessarily happened, but it's like when I was really little, I feel like that was the root issue for me, because I just kind of feel like I never was the type of person where I could just easily fit in with a lot of people, because I couldn't join in a lot of conversations. Like I tried my best to relate to everybody so much that I began to people please, or I started picking up their habits or saying things that I felt like they wanted to hear or what they liked, and I was never being myself. And that was so I could avoid rejection, but at the end of the day, I still didn't fit in, And I wanted to be relatable, but I wasn't. So I realized that I was doing that in my adult life, and when I did all of that to the point that I was drained and still got rejected and abandoned, it backfired on me. And I didn't know how to process that. I didn't. Because at the point, like I told you guys, it got to a point where it was just seeming very, very fake. Like it was noticeable. Like I feel like maybe I started growing, and I got to a place where, like I told you guys before, the mask was falling off, and it was just very noticeable that I wasn't being myself. So what was the lesson in that? The lesson was to just be myself. Either people are going to like me or they're not, and I had to understand and comprehend that everybody's not going to like me. Like, clearly I learned that I can be whatever someone wants me to be, and that could still not be enough or accept it. And I had to accept that I might as well be who I am, learn who I am, and be that. I had to comprehend that everyone is not going to like me. I really had to comprehend that, because in my mind it's like, why would you not like me? And that was ego. That was ego for me to think that. So what's the other lesson in that? A lot of people do not like themselves, so how can they like you? So in looking at myself, I realized that on my part, again, it was an ego thing. And the more I saw, the more that you do start liking yourself, again, a lot of people are going to stop liking you, because you're going to start setting more boundaries. Some people are not going to be used to that. like being rejected and abandoned, that's like a really huge blow to the ego. The lesson in that was validation comes from love. The type of love we want is unconditional love, to be loved in the way that God loves us. And again, a lot of people do not love themselves to be able to love you properly. So you have to learn to give that love to yourself. Learn that you are good enough as you are. And know that you still got the opportunity to evolve, but you're good enough as you are. I really had to learn this, because when people saw the true me, I backed away from them or sabotaged, because I didn't think that me, myself, and I was good enough. Like, which explains also why I was never successful when it comes to dating and you know, things like that, because I kind of felt like if they saw my true colors, like, they gonna think that, you know, I'm boring. Like, you know, it's just plenty of things. So they never really get to know me, because I had such a big wall up, so they wouldn't be able to. So in understanding all of that, people walking away from me, people walking away from me, people walking away from you, people not accepting you has nothing to do with you. I had to understand that it had nothing to do with me. I tell myself now, like, is, you know, if myself is too much or not enough for a person, place, or thing, it had nothing to do with me, and it's not my business, and it just means that it's just not for me. I always use the example of, you know, when you go to a job interview, if you're not selected, are you going to sit there and cry? I mean, maybe you would, but are you going to sit there and just accept that, you know, this job don't want me? Are you going to focus on that one job? Or are you going to start applying to other jobs? If a job let you go, abandon you, what are you going to do? You're going to look for another job. So it's the same thing. Keep going. Like, being rejected and abandoned is not the end all be all. Like, it's not. So they are just like, those things, those people, those situations, they're just not for you. And we all know it's for your protection. It really is. Like, at the end of the day, it's for your protection. You may not realize it in that time being, but as time goes along, you're going to realize like you were better off. After all this, I'm glad, because I could only imagine the mental space, you know, I would have been in right now if I had not been rejected or abandoned. I wouldn't have the confidence and love for God and myself that I have. Instead of moping, ask yourself the questions and answer them, and pour all of that energy back into yourself. But do it with love, do it with grace. Be kinder to yourself. Something I'm learning. Spend time with God and let Him help you, and put that energy into God. And I promise you, that hurt will feel like a blur, and that bruised ego will become more into getting more into your spirit and getting more wisdom and understanding. Those emotions will turn into a logic. I have to say this part too. I didn't say it earlier because I wanted to talk more about it in our next series, but I do think it's important to state in this one. I want you guys to understand that the feelings of abandonment and rejection, feelings of abandonment and rejection, Lord, my tongue be tying up, Jesus. But those feelings and thoughts, they don't belong to us. Like, they don't belong to you. Satan wanted me to feel that way, and it is a thing where he wanted me to feel that way since I was little. And like I said, I felt it since I was little. I just didn't understand what that's what I was feeling until I got into understanding my emotions. And so I had to realize that those moments, those 2 years that I went through depression or whatever, I did feel rejected, I did feel abandoned. But now that God has built me up mentally, I understand now that that's what Satan wanted. It was how he was holding me back. It was how he was stopping me. Even like just coming to you guys and recording, like I'm telling you guys, like I told you this was gonna be the first video from the series, and I recorded a video, but I just didn't feel like it was right. And so I wouldn't have been able to relay what I need to relay to you guys because I was feeling abandoned and rejected in that moment. And so, like I said, Understand when the thoughts that you have are not yours. Understand that abandonment and rejection, that does not come from God. So you have to call Satan out for what he is. He's a liar. And you are accepted. You are validated. Even if no one else does, God validates and accepts you. So understand that you're never rejected. You're never abandoned. Okay? I hope that makes sense. That's all I have for today. I think. I think that's all I have for today. But yeah, just really come to an understanding that rejection, when you're rejected and you're feeling some type of way, know that a lot of times it's ego. Your ego created a reality that this was the end all be all and it was going to be, and know that ego created an expectation. And the only reason you're feeling some type of way from being rejected and abandoned is because that expectation was not met. It's an ego thing. And once you release that and you remember who you are and understand that your expectations just was not met, it's okay. It is okay. That reality that we created, it was not real. And that, again, just move on from it. Understand that an expectation, you thought that outcome was going to be what you thought it was going to be, and it was not. And so your ego got bruised a little bit. That's all. See you next time. Remember, healing isn't linear, it is a journey. And here at Breion's Diary, we are healing together. I love y'all so much, and this is the end of this series. We're gonna go next week into Life Lessons 2.0, and y'all, this next series is gonna be fire. It's gonna be a lot of healing, because I'm telling y'all, God has really been building my spirit up, and I believe that this is why the enemy's been attacking so much, because he didn't want me to get into the mental space that God's been getting me into. So I'm going to help y'all out in the areas that God's been helping me, and we're going to keep moving forward, okay? And trust me, I get it, because I've been getting spiritually attacked left and right for these last couple of weeks. But God got you, honey. All right, I'll see you next week. Bye. Mwah.